Right there, you can go in the Riverwalk. That's the end of it. The convention center is to the right. That's Hall A, and it goes B, C, D, E, F to J. Go all the way to J, and then take a left, and that's where it is. And you can walk to it. Now, as we're coming up this way, we're going to cross. Our main business street is Poydras. That's where the tallest buildings are, and that's where the Louisiana Superdome is. It's a mile from the river. But our main street is Canal Street. And Canal Street is the dividing line of what we call the French Quarter side or the downriver side from the American side that we're on, which is the upriver side. In New Orleans, we give our sense of direction a different way, because the Mississippi River that's on the right is a curve, and we are the crescent city. So if you start in one direction and you come back in the opposite direction, you really are going in, it makes a curve around. So we have south streets that cross each other. It's so confusing to give directions by the compass. And I'll show you that. We'll actually, I think, see some of that. So everybody growing up here says, well, if you live in New Orleans, Canal Street being our dividing line, it's like this. This is uptown, upriver. That is downtown, downriver. That's your riverside on the right. That's your lakeside on the left. I couldn't tell you the northeast corner, but I can always tell you the uptown riverside, downtown riverside, uptown lakeside, downtown lakeside. We don't really expect y'all to get it because it's confusing, but don't ask me where the northeast corner is. In fact, this is how bad it is. Across the river is the West Bank. The sun rises over the West Bank when you're in the court and when you're downtown. So it's very confusing. Okay, this is Poydras. This is our main business street. We cross Poydras, it takes us to Canal. We cross Canal and we go into the French Quarter. So this street, if you look to the left when we cross it, it goes all the way to the Superdome, the Louisiana Superdome, which is the home of the Houdats. Who that say gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? I'm sure y'all heard that, huh? Oh, those Bengals, all right. I just say, if I don't blame you. You pull for your team. But if y'all lose, then go defer to us, okay? Defer to us. Well, look, we always did lose, too. I mean, that was such a big, unbelievable thing. So look down this street, and you're going to see sticking out, it looks like a sort of a spaceship when you look down this way. See the edge of it? Yeah. It's actually, we used to be able to do tours in there, y'all. But what happened was, with 9/11 and security, you can't get in unless it's a ticketed event now. So it's a shame because it's quite something to see. And they're doing a whole renovation to it this year. And we are so ready. I don't know about y'all, but we're ready to get this lockout done, whatever, and get going. Because, it gave us in New Orleans something everybody could come and cheer for and just lifted us up. And when we won, I want to tell y'all something. For a year, we were on cloud 9. We have not gotten over it yet. We were hoping for two that, but it didn't work.
Two that. I like it.
Now, and let me tell you one other thing. We used to wear the paper bags. You said your team was bad? They called us the Aints instead of the Saints because they said we ain't worth a darn,
We call the Bengals the Bungles.
The Bengals the Bungles. So we all got something when they're bad. Okay, this is our main street. This is Canal Street. On the right is the shopping mall, Canal Place. Look down this street to your left. It is one of the widest streets in the world. It's 171 feet from storefront to storefront. The reason it was named Canal Street is because a canal was proposed to be dug down the middle. There was never a canal dug on Canal Street. It was dug somewhere else. And we will see where it was dug. Now, the building on your left, all of that granite had to be shipped here from Massachusetts. We have no natural rock or stone. It is the United States Custom House. Inside, they opened, now it's been about 5 years, the Insectarium, which is really neat. It's all bugs and butterflies, and you can eat crickets if you want. They're chocolate covered. Not that I ever would want to, but kids love that kind of thing. And then look to the right, because where the trees are and that wall is, the building on the river is the Aquarium of the Americas. It's connected to the IMAX Theater. That's at the foot of Canal Street. And then all along the right is a park called the Waldenberg Park. You can walk along the riverfront. It's just really neat. It brings you all the way to the Jack's. I think y'all either went or going on the Natchez Steamboat last night.
No, we're not going.
Last year, not this year. Okay, I'll show you where it is. It's a cruise that goes up and down the river for 2 hours, and that's at the end of this park. But when we go into the quarter, we are now in the French Quarter. You starts at Canal Street. It goes 13 blocks long. From the river, it goes 6 blocks wide. The French Quarter, the Vieux Carré. And when you look at the buildings, notice how they share common walls. It's because we had two major fires, 1788, 1795, which didn't burn in the first fire, burned in the second fire. And they have firewalls between their buildings. This street is South Peters. It joins Decatur right here. And at this little point, there's a little green grassy area, and that is a statue of the founding father, Jean-Baptiste Lemoyne, Sieur de Bienville, a Spanish monk and an Indian. And this is where you see the street becomes two-way, and it becomes Decatur. And this will bring us along up to Jackson Square, which is the heart of the French Quarter. And Tim, when we'll pause for just a minute at Jackson Square on the right up here, it's not past this next two lights. Now look to your right, that's the boat that's on the water. I don't know if you can see behind that little kiosk, the black smokestacks sticking up. That is a steam-powered paddle boat that docks on the river there, does 2-day cruises, 1-night cruise, and then right at this point, this building that's in front of us and the building that's behind the parking lot behind us are all part of what we call the Jackson Brewery. But we don't brew Jack's beer there anymore. It's a shopping mall. The only beer we still brew in, actually, it's across the lake, is Abita. It's a really good beer, A-B-I-T-A. Y'all want to try it?
We know it.
It's delicious. And they're different, light ale, pale ale. Right now there's a Satsuma, sometimes, amber. It's all different, but it's good. And now, but there's a good bathroom if you're downtown. It's open, good bathroom. You know, you're always looking for a bathroom, and there's a bathroom down here that's a public bathroom. It's clean. Now, up here, look at these buildings on your left. These are beautiful, beautiful iron buildings, cast iron, and they're called the Pontalba Apartments, P-O-N-T-A-L-B-A. In today's paper, they're talking about this side is suing right now because they're trying to raise their rent, so they brought a lawsuit. I love that. And I'm going to tell you about them. We're going to pause right here in the middle of this street, Tim, and so they can get a view of the square on your left. This is the heart of the French Quarter. It is called today Jackson Square, named after the hero of the Battle of New Orleans, who is, he's got a statue right in the middle. Y'all know the song, in 1814 we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. That's the colonel on the statue right there on the mound, on the granite. Now, in the distance, the St. Louis Cathedral, the oldest continuously active cathedral in the United States. On either side, there are two state museums. The Cabildo on your left, where the Louisiana Purchase was confirmed. The Presbytere on your right, which is a state museum that has a great exhibit about Katrina. So when y'all come down here, those buildings are open if you'd like. And then when we pause right here, I want you to look to your right, because where the green and white awning is, this is the famous coffee house. Where they have y'all tried that too? Okay. Do you really? You bring it home?
Ship it to me.
Cafe Du Monde. Y'all, it's open 24 hours a day, so you can't miss it. I mean, the only day it closes is Christmas. And you just get the beignet, which is a fried donut without a hole. They come 3 to an order, powdered sugar on top, and the coffee is strong, but they cut it with hot milk. It's chicory. Yeah, they use chicory to stretch it. Now, you see the column buildings on your right? These are all called the French Market buildings. What's so interesting, a free woman of color had the free coffee house and then served coffee to people, so coffee going to the market, going to the cathedral. And then when the Indians were here, they had a trading post. The Irish come, they roof it, the Spanish police it, the Germans grow produce, they ship it to Italians that have the market, and everybody had something to do with it. We call it the French Market. The French lady, straight ahead, on her horse, holding the flag, the Maid of Orleans, Joan of Arc. Given to us by France, we lovingly refer to her as Joni on the pony right there. And we just celebrated Bastille Day, so, you know, that's the red, white, and blue, and I believe flowers right there. At this point, St. Philip Street, along the river, the columns stop on the right, they continue on the left. And they bring us down to, there's a couple of little cafes in here that play music and serve food, and then it'll bring us up to the farmer's market, and then over to the flea market. And the flea market, definitely, if you need to get any bargain shopping, it's where you want to come. They sell t-shirts, sweatshirts, Mardi Gras beads, Mardi Gras masks, alligator heads, alligator back scratchers. They tie an alligator foot to a stick, make a back scratcher out of it, like $3.50. silver jewelry from Mexico, and restaurants in here. Loretta's got creamy pralines, sweet potato pie, sweet potato cookies our family's been making for generations. So all of this was redone since Katrina. The roof blew off, and we have the new air conditioning units. We have a new bathroom facility, a little area to refrigerate seafood they can ship out, and then the open area coming up. It's still early, and it's not a very good day, so I'm sure they just, it's supposed to clear up a little bit in the afternoon, we hope. So this is where they set out tables every day and bring all their wares, and this goes on from sun up till sundown in the flea market. And continuing on along the river on the right behind the wall is the riverfront streetcar that runs from the front of the convention center on Julia Street. That's your street your hotel's on. That's the number 8 stop, and if you ride it all the way, you get off at the number 1 stop here. This is the end of the quarter. Look to your right.
Renovation.
It's under renovation right now.
Oh,
okay.
2 stops down.
2 stops. Okay, I didn't even know. This is the end of the quarter. We continue straight, Tim, and we'll stay in this lane. This is where we make our detour to get. We can't go into this street, so we'll go around to get over to St. Claude. Esplanade Avenue is actually the backside of the French Quarter. So from Canal Street to Esplanade is 13 blocks. From the river to Rampart is 6 blocks. Typically what we do is we do a regular tour, and we go down, we go back to St. Claude, and we'll take a left. But this time what we're going to do, Tim, we're going to go up to the 3rd light, and we're going to get on the right, because we're going to take a right, and we're going to go into through the 8th ward into the lower 9th ward and show you that area. Okay, I want to, I started off so soon this morning trying to get my bearings, getting us in the right direction. My daughter's just like me. We have this terrible sense of direction, and I've lived here all my life. And so I know where I am, so I don't have to worry now. I got where I'm going. But first of all, my name is Jill, and this is my home, and I have a New Orleans accent. It's a little different than other Southern accents. We say y'all, we don't even think about it. It just comes out. But we don't have that real long Southern drawl. I always tell people, when they shoot a movie here, and we are now shooting so many movies, we're Hollywood South. We did this tax incentive for movie companies to come here, and now a lot of different states are doing it, but we were right there in the front. So we got a lot of movies and a lot of activity. HBO shooting Treme here, all about, that area. So I always say, it's so funny when we hear people trying to talk like we do. They either have us talking like a bunch of Southern belles, I could put it on for you real good. And we're all like looking at them like, where are they from?
Alabama.
Yeah, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. Or they have it talking like this, like a bunch of Cajuns, yeah. The Cajuns that run that swamp boat, yeah?
Homa.
Oh, and that area, So, do we say... Who does?
This light you're talking about.
No, we go all the way up to St. Claude. It's not this and the next. In St. Claude, and we'll take a right. And I believe it's the next one up there. And, so, I think because we had so many ethnic groups that settled here, we're like a big gumbo pot, with everybody thrown in. And different neighborhoods, I love to tell people, I say New Orleans. But growing up in New Orleans, you can tell. Some people say Nolans, some say New Orleans, some people say New Orleans. I can tell right away if somebody grew up uptown, because they say New Orleans. And I say New Orleans. But as soon as we hear somebody say New Orleans, we know you're not from here, But you hear it in songs, way down yonder in New Orleans. So I want to sort of give you an idea of a little background as we go into this area of how we were founded. And just briefly, 1718, the city was founded. It was named after the Regent of France, who was the Duke of Orleans. So Nouvelle Orleans was our French name. And we were a French colony from 1718 till 1762. And this is our right here. In 1762, we were ceded to Spain, and the Spanish flag went up. In the French Quarter, you might see tiles on the corners, and they're Spanish, because we were under the Spanish rule from 1762 till 1803. 1803, Napoleon got us back. The French flag went up again. They said we were partying in the streets about being French. And 20 days later, he sold us to the Americans. That was the Louisiana Purchase. Y'all might remember that in your history books. One of the biggest real estate deals in the history of the United States. The Americans, we didn't like them. They were different. two words in New Orleans we use a lot. And I want to tell you, if you stop 10 different people and you ask them what Creole means, you're going to get 10 different definitions. And I want to tell you that. As I talk, let me tell you where we are. As Tim drives, and we can pick it up a little bit, Tim, through here, because I know we only have 2 hours, and there's a lot to cover. So as we go through this area, this is where my husband grew up in this neighborhood. This is the 8th ward. A ward was actually a voting area. It became a neighborhood, you know. And look to the left. This old building on your left is the St. Roch Grocery, and they plan on bringing it back. That was a market where they sold chickens, you know, and live chickens, and you get your fruits and all your groceries there at that market. This area actually that we're in did get water. I have to tell you, 80% of the city got water. But depending on where you are, there was a water line around the buildings that showed us how high the water was. It was like a ring around the tub. We had a ring around the city. Well, it's been going on almost 6 years, so the rings mostly are gone. You know, a few places, and they used to have X's on the building. Because after we flooded and people were evacuated and had to leave, they weren't let back into the city till about 3 weeks later when the water was pumped out. And in that time, the troops came and they went into every building and every house and they checked it to see if anybody was in there. And they rescued them or they made them leave. So they spray painted an X. And in the X, you know, we see all kind of X's with things, but originally that story was, here's an X on your right. Look at this building. Oh, that's just a circle. Oh, no, it's just graffiti. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking for some and seeing if anybody, because every once in a while we see something left. But the X had the date on the top, like 9/12. That was September 12th. On the side, they had the troop that came through. And at the bottom, they had a number, and that was if anybody was found in the house. If animals were in the house, they also sprayed that so the SPCA could come back and paint TFW, Texas Fort Worth. Sometimes that's all they have on them. That was the troop that came in, and they just did that. So, as I said, most of this, though, is gone. Now, in the 8th ward, we call this neighborhood by water, because it's by the water, and a lot of this area is coming back, too. We're on let's say, the upriver side of the break of the industrial canal. Now, they did get water that came to this side, but it wasn't the force that went on the other side of the industrial canal. And to the back on the river, actually we have back there is NOCA, which is the New Orleans Academy of Creative Arts, which is a wonderful program where kids that are talented, either in performing arts, visual arts, they get to go half a day to their regular school and half a day to NOCA. And a lot of our famous musicians grew up doing their art program over at NOCA, and it's just growing and growing and growing. In fact, I can't say enough about it. They're trying to get it to be a whole day program rather than a half day program. So this area you're going to see, you can see just going along that we have some some housing back, we have some schools that are back, we have some businesses that are back, but when we cross on the other side of the canal, they are suffering really badly. They don't have a hospital on that side. They don't have a grocery on that side yet. They have some small, like 7-Eleven types. The building, look to your right over here, that big building, that was a girls' Catholic school, Holy Angels, and Holy Angels is now turned into senior citizen apartments. Also, want to tell you, when we get up to this canal that we're going to cross, the industrial canal, we're going to get a very good view. We're going over a small little drawbridge, and to the right you'll be able to see the traffic that comes in from the river. When we cross over on the left, you're going to see the locks. This canal was dug for transportation all the way into Texas. It's a huge, huge, big canal, the industrial canal. And we're going over the smaller bridge on St. Claude, and then when we come back, we'll go over the larger industrial canal bridge. This little bridge, I got my fingers crossed because we want to get over it, because so many times we'll get it and it'll start going up to let a boat come through that's going through the locks. So Tim, I don't know, we're looking pretty good. It's a drawbridge. It's a drawbridge. It goes up, yep. See to the right, this park, This used to be a playground, and what happened, this was Stallings. They had a gymnasium, and it all suffered damage. So what happened was, what they did after the storm, they took all the playgrounds, and the playgrounds were turned into parks that they put up the trailers and hooked them up so people could come back. If they didn't have a place to live, they put the trailers in our parks, and it's taken a long time to get